so I'm gonna.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Ready? Okay.
Just
Okay.
do that neck thing.
So hello, every single one of you guys.
Stretch.
Session.
Oh,
Two sisters of
stretch
light
that neck.
to connect together, and we just wanted to just get together and share with everyone the energies and how important it is for us to connect one with another. And this is something we will be doing, and many of us doing more and more now. We're connecting, whether we know each other or not. We send messages, we're connecting with people, and we just, we just let the light flow. And we were talking about it. Okay, so what we're gonna do? And I've made myself. I knew it. My job is to make myself empty, make myself clear, and let whatever wants to flow. So, Sarah, it's up to you. Shoot the idea, whatever you feel you wanna talk about.
Okay. Well, I was wondering, I had so many things that came up that I wanted to share once I went grounded and went into meditation and was like, okay, source, creator, what do you use me as your vessel, right? Use me as your tool. And so I have a lot of things. But then I thought, well, let's maybe keep it light. Cause like you're saying, we can just share our energy and share our communication and whatever comes across through the voice, whether it's activating with us, the sharing laughter or communicating, however that comes across and however it's received, so I think that's important. Hey, that was neat. Did you put on a light? Is that how you look so pretty all the time?
Like, because it gets dark here. So you have 10:30 a.m. in LA, and I have 6:30 p.m. in UK. So
okay.
My light is going dark. I don't want to stay.
There you go. No, I love it. I was wondering what people do because there's so many of these Zoom videos and people look so great. I'm like, what is their secret? Oh, there we are. Oh, and that's nice.
And as well, the bunch of flowers. It always makes the difference.
Yeah, look at. Oh, it's beautiful. Oh.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Well, part of what I was, and I'm going to say your name correctly. It's Eliza. So, because I was saying it incorrectly in the video, so I just want to put that on the record. I was thinking about. I was doing a meditation last week, and the message was about self-actualization.
Okay.
And I was going to ask you about that too, because obviously, your journey, and you're teaching us about what that is and what it looks like, and everything with your beautiful videos as a teacher and inspirational healer and everything, vibrational healer. And it's my understanding that I'm looking at my notes, so I'm going to be glancing over here. But like self-love seems like self-love and self-actualization maybe are the same thing. And then I was thinking about there's a pyramid. It's like, I think it's Maslow's pyramid of human desires, or it's like you go survival, and then, is that right?
Okay.
Something like there's survival on the bottom, and then you keep going up, and then there's ego, and then your primal needs, and then there's ego, and then on top of ego, if you can transcend the ego, then there's self-actualization at the very top of the pyramid. Okay. And I think that's where we are, like some of us, and some of us are really interested in it, and some of us are learning, especially with this thing that's happened in the world, is like, okay, well, what am I really here for? And it's my understanding with the self-actualization is that it's really profound, because once we can integrate the ego and learn that it can be our friend, or we can tell it to stand down, or, thank you so much. I did a clearing yesterday for my ego, and because my ego was just stomping around, just really trying to take control, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to give you a new job. I'm going to give you a new job, and you can transform with me and change the structure of the brain to be something exciting. Let's give you something fun to do, like the frontal cortex of the brain, where the genius part of our brain is. Let's give the ego a name. Maybe I'm going to name her Elizabeth. Maybe it's can be a person, not a person, but
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it doesn't have to be this fight, flight, kind of brain that we've had in the past. Since we're evolving, let's evolve the brain, right? And
beautiful.
so that came up, and then because if we're self-actualizing, it's my understanding, with the self-love, then we know and we embody and embrace, accept, embrace, and embody our who we truly are as light beings, as creator beings.
Mm-hmm.
And so then it affects the Merkaba and the toroidal sphere and the energy signature that we're putting out. And because if we self-actualize as a person, like I've done a lot of healing from stuff that happened in the past, and I was really big time into victim.
Yeah, me too.
Feeling sorry for myself. And you too, really?
Oh, huge, big time. I've totally victim queen, self-pity queen. You could make me a crown from self-pity gems. It was just my favorite activity, and it was causing me the most of pain as well, because I was constantly giving my power away. So I totally and entirely, get you and where you're coming from.
Yeah, and it's so interesting because, as it's my understanding as creator beings, that if we're vibrating with our thoughts, because since our thoughts are things, E equals MC squared, I think what he was talking about, Einstein, is energy equals matter. That means thoughts equal matter. That means thoughts actually change things.
Yeah.
I mean, we know this, and a lot of people do, but it's like we're just being reminded, and that's really fascinating. So if that means if thoughts are things and we can change our thoughts, then we change our beliefs and we change our reality, and we're creators of our reality. So we can change our entire reality, and it's something that's very powerful. So if we're actualizing ourselves as a victim, which like you're saying you did and I did, and sometimes I go back there, I have days, I have moments, right? All this stuff's coming up to be cleared and released and integrated and all that good stuff. Yeah. I acknowledge it. Oh, okay. I'm having a feeling like a victim again. What's triggered that? Let's look at that and try to transmute and transform it. Sometimes I can't do it by myself. So then I'll ask, the God and the guardian angels, right? And the beautiful beings that are just standing by waiting for us to ask, the galactics and everybody. And so then if we're self-actualizing in the victim space, then we're exuding a specific energy signature. And then we wonder why certain things are showing up in our life. So that's my understanding. But then when we self-actualize with the self-love and knowing who we truly are, like you're saying about being, knowing your origins and feeling the strong connection to source and where we come from and memories of way back then. So that's so powerful too, because imagine what kind of energy signature then we're putting out into the world, and then the things that are coming from that. So what do you think about self-actualizing, and how when we stay stuck or maybe we need help to move from that space and then move into self-love? What do you think about that?
So I think you're just sharing so beautifully, and when you're sharing, like, my whole heart center is entirely open. We've had that connection before, so my heart center is entirely open, and and it's in the receptive state for your energy, which is just so beautiful. And it's so crazy how you describe the same thing, nearly the same thing. It's just a little bit different words, because your background is a little bit different, mine is a little bit different. Let's say we weren't brought up by the same book. So we use different maybe words to describe totally the same thing and experience. And what I get from what you were saying, and it is so important on my journey. Let's talk a little bit about, because I wanted to touch on the survival. You mentioned survival, and you mentioned stages of overcoming survival. Let's say because I usually refer to that kind of, what is it called? Is it Alan Watts? Like a graph, when you have the lowest possible vibration and emotion of guilt and shame, and then you have anger, neutrality, willingness, and then you have love, bliss, enlightenment, and all that stuff. So you see, Like I would be always asking myself on my journey, like, how come I'm falling back into victim reality, right? How come I feel so selfish and like, and this always was going back for me for being in a survival mode, just feeling so entirely unsafe. So me, whenever Eliza is turning into this selfish mode, into this not being able to come down mode, is just because I simply don't feel safe. I am in a survival mode, a little bit like a animal, like a gazelle that senses, okay, there is a tiger on my back, right? I've got to run. So it doesn't matter, you know, what's going on with my best friend over there behind the corner. All it matters is, you know, time, my body, and the environment, right? So am I safe to run in this direction? How much time do I have to run away from this tiger? And is my body, other organs are switched off, so only the ones that I need the most are in use. So when I am in survival, me being compassionate to others, me understanding if someone is making maybe not the best decision in their lives and impacting me negative, it's just that my level of compassion goes entirely into zero, right? All of a sudden I'm starting to feeling things are not okay. And I don't feel safe. I don't feel okay. I don't feel whole, not at all. I feel not good enough. I feel unfair. Life is not fair. I feel like that. And then I tune into trying to figure out outside of myself because I am entirely out of alignment with my heart, with my purpose, with who I truly am. Even right now, if I am deep in survival, all that stuff doesn't matter. I am a human being in 3D life in that skin, and I am back again to being called Eliza, just like you mentioned. I still have these moments. Me too. So when I'm realizing that stuff, I'm trying to point outside of me because this is a survival mechanism, a protective mechanism. So I'm trying to pinpoint outside of me what is the cause of me feeling not good. What is the cause of me feeling in danger, not safe? What is the cause of me feeling depressed and sad and lonely? And I'm pinpointing, okay, it's his fault. He abandoned me. It's her fault. She talked this stuff about me, you know, 50 years ago, and they brought me up in this environment. It's all their fault. So I'm becoming all of a sudden a victim without even realizing. And you know what, Sarah? That stuff happens in the background. If I am not aware, if I am not aware of this present moment, where is my thinking, where is my heart, that's happening in my background and automatically creates this those feelings and emotions and thoughts, they create chemicals in my body. They literally, because if you feel good, that creates happy chemicals in your body. You're free, you're amazing. But if you feel and think thoughts of sadness, you know, and grief, and you feel guilty, you know, you don't feel good. You feel like there's something wrong with you, and you know, you wouldn't do too good person to your mom 25 years ago. You're gonna feel these emotions, and they're gonna create a different set of chemicals in your body. So they're gonna make you feel, you know, not so good, not so good. And you know, when you talk about self-realizations, I had so many of them that I cannot count. But what really matters to me is that how deep is that self-realization and what kind of energy is surrounded with. Because I remember having the most beautiful realizations and feeling that love, and 5 minutes later, being back again into that survival and victim mode. Because the environment around me, because I didn't change my energy, because I didn't embed that kind of knowing. That's why meditation, being in nature, talking to people like you who get me entirely, who are doing their work, who are not afraid to look within. And you know, my analytical mind tells me, oh my God, you had that vision, you are crazy. You know, you cannot share that with your friends, they're gonna think you're crazy, right? And me going against that analytical mind and saying, no, that vision shows me that I come from source. That vision shows me unconditional love. I'm going to stick with that vision no matter what that tells me. And definitely no matter what Jenny or John is going to say about that. So, you know, being connected with people like you who do that stuff, it's very important as well, because that creates that safe environment. But first of all, you and me, on this journey, we are learning to be our own parents. We are left
Yes.
to create for ourselves that safety environment by another realization. I am my own safety. Not enough of money, not enough of friends, not enough of safety houses
Yeah.
or safe jobs that they are COVID, proof and all that stuff. Because there is no safety outside of ourselves truly. And COVID is a proof, beautiful proof of it. Like you really, I was sticking, so many people were sticking with their jobs and their title because it made them feel safe, right?
Yeah.
There comes 2020, you're no longer safe no matter what's the title. And shows us how important it is to take that power back from outside sources and look within. And self-love is just a basis. And yes, I truly believe, like you, self-love is self-realization. Because if I am love, if I come from love and through love and by love and made by love, then I am love. But I cannot have that from, I cannot have, 50,000 people around me telling me that. I have to know that myself. And I've been in a moment in my life in the past when for a very long time I had absolutely amazing people around me who were telling me how loved I am, how special and amazing I am. And I wasn't at the place of me knowing how to do that for myself. And no matter how many times they said it to me, it could not fill up this hole that I believe that I am, like this black hole inside of me. That's what I thought I am. That's why I was running away from it so much. Yeah, I hope that that replies in some way to your.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So do you think if there's people watching or who are going to be watching this, do you think there's, I don't want to say cliff notes, you know, you read cliff notes in school and they're like, okay, you can read these. And
Yeah.
what's a way that we can help people to fast track into feeling like if they're having a hole that like you were talking about,
Yeah.
what do you think we could say about how they can just love themselves a little more? I mean, obviously, see, now I'm thinking as I'm saying this, that you can't sidestep doing the work. So
No.
that's, for me, that's a part of it. I'm kind of answering my own question and I want to hear what you have to say too, but it's really doing the shadow work and acknowledging that that part of yourself is something that you chose. Like all those experiences are something that you chose to have, like pre-birth, you know, and in the intermissive when we're choosing our birth plan and everything, and we choose all of this stuff. So I think that's part of it, is understanding that there's a bigger picture. But back to being a human body, especially right now, what do you think we can tell people about just transitioning the darkness into the light and making it from maybe self-hatred or victim consciousness into self-love?
Yeah, this is such a good question. It's such a good pointer, Sarah, because I had a chat with a friend and over the messages in the last few days, and I remember how beautifully he said about the light has always been within me. I hidden very well and very deep, but it's always been within me throughout the journey, because this person is at the moment in a deep waking up moment. That person knows a lot, but they are at the moment right now when they are waking up to so much more, which is just beautiful and amazing. And you know exactly what's that like. I know exactly what's that like. I would say that there is a light within you, whether you are aware of it or not. But if you really want to make a shift from these lower energies and lower vibrations and lower energies, you've got to first commit to yourself every single day. And that commitment means taking time out of your busy day for yourself. So it doesn't matter how much. Doesn't matter how much your husband or your kids needs you. You have to make time for yourself and make yourself a priority in this particular time of the day, whether it is meditation, journaling, time in nature, all of that packed together. We all have time. It's all about how we manage it, whether you place someone else as a number one or yourself, because I've done it most of my life. I placed other people as a number one, but in the back of my mind, the back and fundamental like a, what is it called? I'm forgetting the English word. The intention, underlying intention was that I actually expected them to love me back as an exchange. So I will please you first, but that from, even if I wasn't aware of that intention was still there because it was embedded within me, that need for love. So if I will love you 5 times more than I love myself, and I will give you 5 times more time than I love myself, I will at some point have that return of love back, because we are wired for love. We need love. We cannot survive without love. Yeah. So you've got to understand that you have to love yourself first in order to give others the real quality of love. Mm-hmm. And you cannot, you cannot pour from an empty cup. You just have to commit to yourself every day. And just like you said, shadow work, meditation, journaling, being in nature, and just learning, discovering, relearning, reconnecting with yourself. Okay, what do I like? Who am I? Yeah. Do I like pink or I like gray? Do I like skirts or I like baggy jeans? What do I like? Experiment, have fun with it. And under no circumstances, don't judge yourself. No judgment, no criticism allowed. It's just letting it be. Whatever it is, letting it be. And just like you said, there is no shame in asking for help. I wouldn't be where I am without all the help I've got. And trust me, I've asked for a lot of help and I got it all. I've got it all. But I had to do what was suggested as well. It wasn't just give me the solution. It was like, what can I do? What is it? What you've done to get where you are? Okay, let me take a note. And from next day morning, this is what I'm doing. Yeah, that's what I would say.
Yeah, it's like, I had a vision once of like, okay, let's say you go to the deli and you just have it in your mind. You just have to have some potato salad, right? And you just have to have it. So you go up to the deli counter and you're like, hi, and this is, how can I help you? So there's the other person on the other side, the customer service. How can I help you? And you say, oh, I'd like a pound of potato salad. So they immediately, they know already in their mind whether they have it or not, right? Because they're working the counter. And they say, oh, sorry, we're out. We're completely out. We'll be making more later, or you come back tomorrow or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. Because that's the thing. It's these analogy that my brain seems to understand. So it's the same with self-love, because if you're expecting, like you said, in order to give somebody self-love and there's nothing there, we're fresh out. Sorry. Yep. It's the same thing. And like going up to the counter and so if you're expecting, or we are expecting to be able to try to love someone or love ourselves, if we want to love ourselves and we don't know, because maybe our parents never learned, maybe they never knew. Yeah. I mean, in my own journey, I had to learn that the things that happened a certain way were with my parents, or one of them was because of their own life and with their own parent. And how far back does it go, Yeah. So it's like, okay, so I didn't need to take it personally. I still am pure and beautiful. I'm 100% love by myself. And then knowing that it wasn't them, that I wasn't getting love, or I wasn't feeling self-esteem because they didn't know how to give it to me in the first place, because they never got it. And maybe all the way back to the beginning of time, right? Yeah. I mean, goodness sakes. Well, maybe not the beginning, but where there was infiltration and stuff like that. So I just think it is so literally important to know that if we are seeking love from somebody, they are not going to be able to give it to us if they don't have it. No. Oh, they just don't know. They just never learned.
No.
And never learned.
And at the end of the day, if you don't have, it's like you have to have the love within yourself to be, it's just something, you have to have it. You have to, and it doesn't mean that you have to have it from day one. It's just that something you have to practice on a daily basis. At least that's my case, just like yours. The way I was brought up is I wasn't brought up the way to learn my own self-esteem. So I brought up in less than nurturing environment, and it doesn't matter my environment. The way I interpreted life and how I am seen in this world is that I'm not good enough and I'm not worthy. End of story, period. And it doesn't matter how much I will try, I might get, if I'm lucky, 2 minutes of love once per year, and that's it, or not, right? So this is how I felt. And then I had to, learn after I was coming out of these destructive behaviors, after healing from it all, I started learning that, okay, it doesn't matter how pretty is my boyfriend or girlfriend, how much they love me and all of that. At the end of the day, who wants to stay with someone who love themselves and give love, wants to stay with someone who doesn't love themselves, right?
Right.
It's just not a match. It just doesn't match. So that's one thing. And another thing I learned, that it doesn't matter how much someone else love you. If you don't love yourself, you will not be able to receive it. You will not be able to gift it back or make it vibe. You just have to be an energetic and vibrational match. And it doesn't matter, is it a romantic relationship, friendship, like sisterly relationships that we have. Yep. It just doesn't matter. If you don't feel your own love, if you don't do your own work, Sierra, or I'm not doing that work and you're doing, it's just not gonna vibe. It's just not gonna vibe, It's just gonna be like hit and miss, and mostly miss. I think we vibe so much because you're doing all that work and you're coming from this similar experiences, and me as well. And we've both decided at some point enough is enough. I'm rolling up my sleeves and I'm taking, full responsibility for who I am and how I feel.
It's so true, because I don't really want to go into the past of why I've been able to come to this consciousness I'm at right now. I won't put a label on it. I just say that I've grown. I'm noticing the growth, and I'm like, woohoo, go me, because like this, like, mwah, mwah. You gotta do it. It's like, okay, so if I chose, and thanks to Jill Cole, I'm just going to shout out to her, because in one of her discourse, she mentioned something about, well, okay, so abuse happens because we chose it. So if that's true, which we know it is, so if that was part of the past, but it doesn't have to be part of your now or your future, but knowing that, okay, so I chose in the intermissive to have this family and have this birth plan and have this particular years or amount or whatever of abuse, right? Or you could say abuse / experience.
Okay.
So, and because that's where in my consciousness now I've realized, okay, I don't need necessarily to call it that. I can call it a chosen experience. And then at first, honestly, when I heard that from some people, I was like, excuse me, what the frick are you even talking about? Like, oh, so you can say that because you probably never had it happen to you. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then I'm like, wait, hold on. This person is expanding my mind, is allowing me to understand from a bigger perspective. I did choose that. Yeah. And so look at, I don't know your experience, but with mine, like, look at where we've been able to come on the other side of acknowledging that I chose that. Yeah. And now I can come to the other side and learn the full capacity of the full circle of the self-love now. Because I can look at it and go, oh, okay, I love myself enough to realize that was a chosen experience. Mm-hmm. And hopefully I won't have to choose that again. Yeah. But then also that if somebody has to experience a certain thing labeled as or experienced as abuse, maybe that was because I did that in a past life. So that's huge in healing for me. Since I was asking you about healing, how can we do self-love, is to know that I don't have to feel bad. I mean, I should repent within my own being and say, I'm sorry. Like the Ho'oponopono, I'm sorry. And definitely acknowledge that happened. Even if we hurt someone else or someone hurt us, I'm sorry. I love you. Please forgive me. Is that right? And then there's one more.
I am sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you.
There you go. That's so powerful. Oh, I said so powerful. But to be able to recognize that, isn't it? Yes. And just say, okay, so that was the experience. That's how I've been able to get where I'm at with my self-love right now. It's just knowing that, okay, it wasn't me. It was maybe it was my soul's progression as a necessary thing to happen so that it cancels out the law of cause and effect. Yeah. So if I did it in a past life to someone else, I had to experience in this life, so that way, that as far as God source is concerned, it goes like this. The slate is clean.
Okay,
Like
that's
that. We're done.
analogy.
We're done. Shoop, shoop, we're done. And you can move on. And I'm like, oh, I don't have to feel bad or guilty or shameful anymore.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just, and then if we acknowledge and can self-actualize at that moment and embody that self-love from that space of the opposite, anything other than love. So love wants to make more space for itself in the body, right? It's like cleaning out the closet. Love has to make more room for itself at all times. So if it's coming in, which it is with these light codes and this permeating our life and our existence and everything in the ethers, in the photonic realms and belts that are coming in, then the love is coming in and all this stuff has to come up,
Yeah.
like this. So it can just be like, get the hell out of my way so I can allow more love in.
Yes.
And honestly, there's some days though, honey, I'm like, no, nope, nope, I don't want any more. No, thank you. I'm done. I thought I went through that already. No, it's like, no, I thought I'm done this already. And then I sit with it and I allow myself to cry for a little bit. Like Nilesh said in one of his Zooms, Nilesh Metatron was like, okay, feel the negative feelings, feel the pain, just sit with it, be uncomfortable. And it's like, we don't want to do that. Most people won't. And bless their hearts, okay? But for me, getting to self-love means you sit with it and you acknowledge it and recognize it and love. That's just part of being human. You choose to be here, you know? Oh my goodness. So that's the self-love and the self-actualization. Because then when you self-actualize as somebody who is staying in a victim place and can't get yourself out of it, then you feel desperate, hopeless. Exactly. But then there's another way. There is another way. And maybe that's what I think what we're sharing here is another option for people. There is, you know, you can do it. And maybe you need help. I paid $100 a month for a year for a personal growth and development group. This was a couple years ago because I needed it. I needed the help.
Exactly.
You know? Oh, and I also needed to raise my credit, which that helped. Because then when you borrow money and then you raise your credit, and so it was twofold. But
there you go. Yes, and we do need love, and we do need one another to learn from. And yeah, Sarah, I really appreciate you mentioning every single thing you mentioned. It's so important to realize that, okay, you know, this is the time of us breaking the chain, right? That goes back. You know, it isn't, that actually didn't happen because I am not worthy of love, you know? It happens because, you know, it's victims of victims, generation after generation. And, you know, this is the time right now of us cutting the chain, doing the work so it isn't passed on to another person, to another relationship, through another connection. You know, I think it is very important as well to mention for us as well, and I would like you to share that from your heart. How would you describe, how would you embed that self-love? Because someone who, I remember myself, you know, even 5-10 years ago, like, self-love, how do you do self-love? How what's that? Because I remember even, you know, working with someone a few years ago, and after working with her for a year or so, asking her, how do you actually relax? I had no idea how to relax. All I knew is how to be in survival mode from one task to another. How do you actually relax without sitting stiff and watching Friends as a stiff person, you know? It's just this journey for every one of us. It could be experiencing a little bit different way, but the way I would say that the best way, what worked for me with embedding these energies, with embedding self-love, was to feel it from inside out. Connect with my heart, open my heart, cleanse those chakras, bring these energies up, which is transmuting these lower survival energies by taking them up through the roof, and it's transmuting them into love and light and bliss. And because it isn't about getting rid of something and running away from that shadow self of myself, it's about looking at it, bringing the space and love into it, and stop running away from it. Because that's what it was for me. I've done so much work that it was about getting rid of it, you know, turning your eyes away from it, working on the opposite thing. And it worked to some degree, if that makes sense. But then with all these energies, like you said, the stuff started coming to the surface and I'm realizing, okay, what I'm doing so far is amazing, but it isn't enough. I've got to do
Yeah.
so much more. So I dove deeper and deeper into meditations and embedding that feeling, literally watching it being embedded in my body, feeling and rehearsing how that loving herself Eliza feels like, looks like, smells like, walks like, what that Eliza that loves herself so much is doing every single day, and what are the things I don't do any longer. How I no longer talk about myself in my head or to other people, you know, and looking at that stuff and looking at that stuff and learning just from it, observing and testing, and again, full commitment, and embedding through the emotions, elevated emotions. That was a biggie for me, to keep feeling constantly that love, feeling that love. And if I cannot feel it, it's okay, it's fine. Comfort myself, you know, make myself, you know, calm down, it's fine, it's okay. And then just do a meditation, and in a meditative state, try to connect with those elevated emotions of gratitude and ease and love.
Yeah, let's see. There's so many people who have influenced me. A number of years ago, I think it was
How
26.
are you embedding that self-love into your being, Sarah?
I want to say though, it was a teaching I had from a friend, and she told me that in order to embody and embed the self-love is to give it to myself instead of looking at it from other people.
Yeah.
And that was huge. That was a teacher, Chrissy Key Rollins. She's a healer, and because I was feeling upset that it wasn't coming from a particular individual, and feeling like my life was lacking, right? Because I wasn't getting that attention. And she's like, well, okay, but you can give it to yourself in the same way that you're expecting it from the other person. And then when you get to that level and can give it to yourself, that's, I think, pure self-love right there. And that took a while, because you don't think in your mind that you're going to be okay without that person or that energy from them. And then when you realize you're your own source being, you don't need it as a separate, you're just right there, you can give it to yourself. So I think to me, that's being able to embody it in my body. But definitely saying no more. Definitely saying no. Because when I'm saying no to others, I'm saying yes to myself.
Yes.
That's really huge. And that's not very popular.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
not. And you know, and if being self-loving means pissing someone else off, too effing bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's really it. And that's a self-boundary. That's a self-love boundary that I had to learn, that it's okay. Then people don't understand. They get upset. It rubs them the wrong way, because when you're being self-loving, especially if you're changing, oh boy, that's a big one. Because when you go from being, you know, I'm going to hold my own pity party, and you hold that resonance of self-actualization, and then everybody recognizes you in the family or friends or whatever, right? Circles of influence recognize you that way. And then all of a sudden one day, poof, you've woken up and you're giving yourself self-love, and you're saying no, and you're having good boundaries with yourself and other people. And then it just rocks their world. It's really a mess. Woo! You know, raging waters and stuff like that. And that's okay. And I think that's part of it, is staying the course of embodying the self-love of what you know to be true for yourself, listening to your heart, and then still holding true to yourself. And then that, to me, that's really important part of the self-love. But also embodying your inner child. Like when you did that healing for me, it was so powerful to learn that my inner child can be my greatest teacher. I mean, I kind of done a lot of healing work with my inner child too, and I have a very childlike spirit, and that was kind of what else I wanted to talk about, was a little bit of that. But I think what happens sometimes with people, I don't know, you know about children, and everybody can acknowledge when you see a child, you know, they're so pure, they're so much closer to, right, the origination, or however you want to say that, without the indoctrination and the programming or whatever's going on with fill in the blank, right, as we grow up. And so, in being able to embody the self-love, it means for me is giving myself what my inner child really wants. Like, what does she want? Does she want to play? Does she want to go sit and lay down on the ground? That's a really big one. Just laying down on the ground on a blanket or on a hammock or a chair, or just put a towel down, or even on the pavement and just lay there and look at the trees, or even just look at the clouds. I don't know. I used to do that as a kid. And when I start doing these things again and listening to my inner child, I think, oh, this feels so weird. I hope nobody's watching. But what is that? That's BS. I mean, come on. Really, who cares? Yeah? I mean, if it's going to bring us joy, so that's the self-love, is big time. Laying down, watching the trees, watching the birds, watching the clouds. I even bought a ball because I used to love to play handball. And I haven't found anybody who want to play with me yet. I wish you lived closer. We could go play. But it's like this beautiful ball. It's in my car. It's been in there. And sometimes I'll stop at a school and just go play by myself. You know, I'm 47 years old and I'm playing handball. It's like, this is so fun.
Absolutely amazing.
So fun. I mean, do you have a game that you like to play when you were little? I'm just curious.
You know what? I go to the swings. I literally go on my own to the swings, and I just give myself the time. And the funny thing is that often other kids run to me and they treat me like another kid. Hi, what's your name? And I don't know well, I know what is it, but it's like I'm attracting kids so much. In the most healthy way, everyone who is watching, in the most healthy way. They just like, the group of them runs to me, say, oh, maybe because I'm just there so free and I'm not stiff like most of the grown-ups. I'm just so free. I'm just letting myself.
Oh, so fun. Oh, and then when you close your eyes, and you lean back, and it's like you're.
Yeah. So that's why they come up, and then they, you know, and they use another swing, and they just ask you questions, and they just keep on asking, you know, another question, and they just want time and attention. They just want time and attention. That's the most crazy thing. But yeah, on your suggestion that I got, and how it, you know, hit my heart about reconnecting more with my inner child. It's just been so big on my journey. It's just been so big. I've never ever before on my journey I was more of my own parent than I am now, after the suggestion of buying just a toy for myself that you shared with me, you know, and I went on eBay and I checked, okay, which one. I was trying to find the one that I got in my childhood. But I couldn't find it, and I've decided I think it's time for something new, and I got the newer toy, and it's just amazing. And it isn't about what the toy is, because I bought the used one. For some reason I felt like that's the one it's supposed to be, used one. And I just cleansed its energy, and I give it my own energy, and it's all about me giving myself time instead of scrolling and, you know, placing somewhere a comment and expecting a nice comment back, doing the old stuff. Literally, instead of putting my energy into something outside of me, putting that energy inside of me. And and I often look as well at just the same way as you said it. Okay, what do we want to do? Do we want to play? Have I been too serious for a few days in a row? By too serious, I'm always laughing, but by too serious I mean, okay, this time I'm doing this time, straight away after that, you know, schedule and all of that. So I'm trying to, like, tomorrow, right? Tomorrow, okay, so I'm doing tomorrow random thing. I just made a plan an hour ago. Usually I would wake up 5:15 and I would do my meditations, I would do my stuff, and then I would start my day, whether it would be going to work or if I'm home doing stuff from home. But tomorrow I'm gonna wake up at 4:30. I'm gonna do half of my spiritual routine only, and I'm gonna drive over an hour away to the beach, and I wanna catch the sunrise.
Oh, that's a great idea. What a fun thing.
You know why? Because I love myself. And this experience of Eliza who loves herself. So yes, I'll be tired at 4 p.m. I'll be already tired and sleepy. So what? I love myself enough, and I'm gonna go and have that experience, because I don't remember when the last time I've done something so random. And I know we not always can do that stuff, but I can do it tomorrow. Just like
That's beautiful.
that, go there and do it. So that's the plan. Unless something is gonna change, but I don't think so. I think that
See, that is so beautiful. I love that you're going to do that. And then what's neat is you can come home, take a nap, you know, right? If you're tired.
exactly.
That is so, oh, that's going to be so beautiful, that, you know, that precious time.
And it's gonna be cold and fresh and crispy and sunny, and I'm gonna take video, and I'm gonna spend time with Eliza. I'm definitely gonna take a video, because there is so many messages that wants to flow through me. I'm definitely gonna make a video for sure, but whenever I will not be on the phone, which is gonna be most of the time, I will be with me. I will be with nature. I will be with the one. I will be with the energies of love and light. And whatever is gonna pop up for me, whether it's ugly or pretty, I'm just gonna be with it. Just gonna let it flow through me, you know, because often I made a plan and the expectation was that I'm gonna be feeling like a fairy, and I'll be just feeling only beautiful, right? And I'm going there and I feel like crap. And I'm resisting instead of processing it, letting it come and letting it go. So yeah, that's the plan.
Beautiful. You know, the other thing I was going to say, because I said about the nap, is the other thing, because when I was channeling or meditating about what I wanted to talk with you about, or what wants to come through me, right? I don't think it's really me. Maybe it's the higher self a little bit, but it's mostly just the message that wants to come through as a channel is to be more childlike. So like living, because if you watch children, and I hope that you and me, even further as I go about my day today and the rest of the days since, and then when I re-listen to this, more messages come, is if you watch children, they're so precious. And I think there's something that we're being invited to do right now, is to act more like children. And I'm not saying irresponsible or irrational, because sometimes, well, teenagers can be irrational because they're doing the brain thing and they're really trying the rebellion out and all that. But like younger children, as if you watch them, like I took some notes. Okay, so what do children do when they tune into their inner urgings and they have these primal needs? So like if you watch a baby, like when they're hungry, they cry, right? Or when or if they've chosen the abuse experience, maybe they have trouble expressing themselves, right? So I'm going to just say that right off. But for the most part, if you see kids, like if they're hungry, they'll usually say something, or they'll cry, or maybe when they're toddlers, or they'll get cranky. And if their caregivers notice, oh, okay, you're hungry, something happens in the body, right? But they usually reach for food, or they'll say something about it. And then if they're tired, they usually they'll just drop right there. They just lean over and fall asleep, right? And like adults, why aren't we taking naps? Maybe we have to work, or we're too busy, or we have all these responsibilities. So I'm going to just say right now, I totally get that. But maybe there's a moment where you can set your timer and park your car and sleep for 10 minutes. I don't know what people need, because that's kind of a personal thing, But napping is really can reset the brain too, especially where the stress and stuff. And so sleep and resting, just having downtime. Like kids know how to have downtime. They'd be like, well, what are you doing? I just need to be alone. Have you ever noticed kids like that? Or if they're in a class, or they're hanging out with little kids, and what do kids do when somebody steals their toy? They get pissed. Right?
Yeah.
So what'd you say?
Straight away they tell you. Straight away they tell you.
Straight away. So what happened? That's what I want to just bring up, is what has happened to us, do you think? And, as adults, that if somebody takes something of ours, maybe we're at work and somebody stole our idea, but we don't want to say anything because we think we might get fired, or it's not socially acceptable, or we're afraid of hurting someone's feelings.
We've been conditioned with time to not steer the boat, to fit the picture, square picture. And none of us is square, I don't see a square part of your body. I don't see a square part of my body. We've been conditioned to not steer the boat, because majority of people who showed us, who took us into this world, didn't knew, and they still don't know how to deal with feelings and emotions, right? One of the biggest one is anger. People have no idea how to deal with anger. So boys are told, it's not okay to be angry, and you have to, push it down. And the same with girls, we are brought up that we have to be all open and welcoming and warm. What about if I feel like, no, I want to show you a finger and I want to walk away because I need my alone time? You're not allowed to do it, because the women's supposed to be warm and gentle and welcoming to everyone, even if you are on your period and you're, screaming from pain. So, there are these conditions about not steering the boat and fit the picture, which doesn't leave the space for spontaneous and on the spot dealing with feelings and emotions and whatever pops up. And this is what I believe happened to me. All these unprocessed feelings and emotions and traumas got trapped in the body, because I didn't let them flow. They were pushed down, they were pushed on the side. No, it doesn't matter. You have to run and do this. You have to take care of that. You have to piss them. You cannot piss them off, and all that stuff. And then all of a sudden, I'm 33, and and I don't want to live any longer, because I don't know how to live with that pain, with that whole me. And then, of course, with time, with years, I feel like the worst thing I can ever do for myself is to sit down in silence, because these feelings and emotions come to the surface and I still don't know how to deal with them. And I see them as demons, because they seem so scary, like a feeling of loneliness, feeling of being on my own, feeling of being lonely seems so scary, because I don't know how to deal with that stuff. So it's beautiful how you said about being spontaneous and all of a sudden be like, what do I want? I want a lollipop, or I'm angry. Something happened and I don't like it. Let me express it and let it flow through me instead of trap it down and
I know.
feed the square box.
Exactly. I just realized something as you're talking, that this conversation and me wanting to speak about this and then hearing you, I think it's the rise of the divine feminine that has been silenced. And maybe it's the men, like you were saying, how they have to be a certain way, or they've been brought up to be more masculine and stuff. And I think they're rising. They're divine feminine in men, divine feminine in women. We're all, maybe it's just waking up and rising up and saying no. Or maybe we need to learn. I had to learn recently nonviolent communication. Like, I didn't really know how to, I'm still learning, especially with family. I mean, I get triggered. Okay. And just having some issues with myself, it's learning how to speak. So I had to have a beautiful teacher. We do healing money coaching, learning about all of that. And what came up was, let's learn how to speak. And she just said the most easiest thing rolled off her tongue. And I'm like, why is that so easy for her? And it's hard for me, but that's okay. Cause I never learned before, you just have to learn. It's like riding a bike. You get on the training wheels and then you run and then you fall and then you play again, it's like, but that, I think what's happening. And then with kids too, the other thing I noticed, if somebody steals their toy, they get pissed and they'll say something, or they'll go tell the teacher, or they'll get mad. Like, they don't normally just sit there unless there's been some issues, in their life where they just kind of have things happen to them. But then, like you say, maybe it'll come up later in their life and they'll realize, well, how come I'm, feeling like, but because we don't really know how to speak up for ourselves. And then the other thing is, so when we're in physical pain, maybe stop doing what's causing us physical pain. And that can be really hard. Or if we're in emotional pain, maybe we need to cry, or instead of shutting down, like as adults, I think we feel like it's not okay to cry. And I think it's really important to express your emotional tears with people, whether you're sad or happy or angry, you're disappointed, it's so important. And then, or the other kids do that I noticed is they say, I don't want to play with you anymore. You're not my friend. Not being nice, right? Have you ever heard kids say that?
Yep.
I mean, what is the deal?
Like they're best friends again.
Yeah. Now, see, that's really interesting.
Because they express their emotion instead of pushing it down and trapping. And you know what I was doing when I was a kid? I didn't felt that it's right to do it, so I was pushing it down. And then I didn't understood how come 3 days later I'm still angry, and I'm resentful. And I carry this anger within me, and I push it down because it's not okay for Eliza to express herself, you know? So this is exactly what we're talking about. This is so beautiful. This is so beautiful because we bring the light not just to our own experiences, we bring the light that helps others right now, those who listen and are listening, not expecting, who are seeking for the answers. We bring it into the situation, right? That doesn't mean everyone has to agree with it or anyone has to agree with it, but this is the thing that helped me so much on my journey. And Sarah, oh my God, you talk right now about the divine feminine and divine masculine. Most of the guys, that they are deeper in their spiritual understanding, that they've done some work, they are very, very much aware of their divine feminine, and it shines out through them very much. At the beginning, when I was at the beginning of this journey, it felt even a little bit like, whoa, this is totally different thing. I'm like, there is a lot of feminine energy coming out of you. But then I like, this is the balance, because I myself have a lot of masculine. I have about, let's say 30-40% masculine and about 60-70 feminine that now shines out. But a year ago, over a year and a half ago, I was on a journey, on a chapter of my journey where about 80-90% of my energy was masculine. And I was just going through that chapter of embracing, you know, oh wow, something is, you know, flowing through me. And I believe that was the part when I was releasing that powerlessness, when I was releasing that victimization on a deeper level, that anger as well. And yes, I agree with you, because if you would look at, let's look at 90s, okay? You know, remember the fashion from 90s? Very manly-like, right? Female and male, very manly-like, very square one, right? Very square one. Now, if you would look at the business from that time as well, if you were a woman, a businesswoman, you had to be entirely in your masculine energy as well. You couldn't do it, be successful. Well, majority was unable to do it and be successful with their feminine energy of love, light, and bliss, and in tune with your emotions. No, you were head on like a man, you know, like a man, like a tough one with a cigar. Even if you are a woman, you had to do it this way for a very long time. Who was it? The lady who created spandex. Which one? You know, she created spandex. The, you know,
God bless spandex. God bless spandex.
She was talking to someone at the beginning of her career. She was talking to someone, and this person said to her, I don't even remember was that a man or a woman, business is brutal, business is tough, and it's very manly. And she you know, and she started crying, like she started crying and melting and processing these emotions. And it came to her, no, I don't want it to be like that. Mine doesn't have to be like that. My business and my success can be not brutal, can be totally different, you know. And she's extremely successful woman, you know, and that's beautiful and amazing. And the stuff that you're talking about, yes, we're learning right now to embrace both sides, even within one being. I know so many men and so many women on the spiritual journey so beautifully embracing both, one with another. And some days they are more in their masculine, and other days they are much more in their feminine. So, and the same is for me, depending on a day, depending on the energies I have, depending on the energies I feel, what I process in my own life, who am I connected with as well? Because one person is always going to influence another, you know? Yeah, I love it. I absolutely love it what you said. I feel like we can sit and talk for like 15 hours or 55.
I know. We should probably.
It doesn't go down. It doesn't go, it doesn't finish. Let me just have another 5 glasses of water and we can keep it going.
Oh, I know. But we should probably stop pretty soon. But
maybe
know,
right now, but that tells me straight away, Sarah, and anyone who is watching, guys, if you've got any value whatsoever from anything we share, especially from the underlying energies and intentions, because at the end of
yep,
the day, it isn't that much even what kind of words are you going to use and choose or listen to. It depends whether you are opening your heart to the message. It is the message that it works for you for this particular chapter of your journey or not. And if you like the energy, if you like what we share here, please let us know in the comment section, and we will hop on live again, and we record that message, whatever it's going to be flowing through us, and we will do that again.
Yep. I just say, the best way to embody self-love is say no. Definitely say no more. You're saying no to others, so you're saying yes to yourself. And looking at the ugly parts of yourself and getting help with that if you need it, and doing your shadow work, and playing more.
Definitely.
Playing, like you said, with the swings or with the ball at the park, or flying kites, just fun things. I mean, we could probably learn a lot from kids, just re-engaging with children again. And if you need to, you could probably Google it even, like best way to play with, if you're babysitting, what's the best way to entertain children? And maybe we should look into that. Yeah, I should too. I mean, so.
I'm getting a lot, I'm getting a lot of, because in my sessions, I'm getting lots of messages for my clients to do exactly that, to just play more, have more fun. And very often I get the pictures to send them to the animal rescue farms. Play with the goats, how they jump, like to do that. It's like out of nowhere, jump. So I constantly like I've got that for quite few people recently, like send them to the goat farm, send them to the animal rescue, go out of nowhere, just entirely, from one day to another, make a plan and go to a water park, or just go to the swimming pool, like just do randomly things that they will bring you fun, or at least you think that it will bring you fun, and just go and play it, go and try it, no expectation, just go there and show up for yourself. Show up for the inner kiddo.
That's so true, because then because obviously, we're adults too, so we have responsibilities and expenses, and we're, grounded in responsibility as an adult. But it's almost like the more you entertain your inner child and give yourself permission to do that, then you have more to bring to your adult life and the things that you need to do with that, and then it can flow and kind of merge together. So
Shazam, entirely, 100%. I agree with you, because if we are enriching, that's why we do the inner child work, not just because it sits in the corner of our heart and it cries and you want to stop the crying. No. This is the whole experience. This is just another aspect of us, the aspect that needs to be nurtured in a very, very, very tender and a special way. And some days it would be like, some days it would be literally taking the kid to the park, go and have fun. Other times will be in a little bit more, cozy and structured, maybe structured way. What I would like to ask you? I would like to ask you, what is the thing that you are doing every single day, the one single thing, but you yourself benefit from that the most?
This is funny. Okay. I'm going to just say it, because brushing my teeth, because if I don't brush my teeth, then I can have bad breath, and then it can be really bad. Okay, no. All laughing aside, I'll joking.
I have to reframe that question next time I'm asking anyone. I have to say maybe, I don't know, spiritual or emotional.
Yeah. Okay. I think feeding myself good food. Really good, clean food.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and drinking enough water, and really taking good care of my body. It's been a really priority, because the more I can do that. Obviously, well, I'm caring for my mother. She's an elder, so she's my elder, and you have to, especially when you're caring for another. You have to be so. I'm learning that more. I have to be really, really good caring for myself. And so eating well, making sure carbs, protein, and fats in every meal to feed my brain, so that I make sure I eat enough fats, and exercising, and taking naps. If I'm tired, I'm going to take a nap, and I can't always, but I mean, it's just because then I'm not so short-tempered. I'm less impatient. I have more concentration and more love to give. So it's just, yeah, those things.
Beautiful, beautiful. Sarah, would you like to introduce yourself? But because we never done it at the beginning, is there something you would like to say about yourself? Introduce yourself. Maybe you have a website or whatever where you want to direct everyone. Go for it.
Oh, okay. I'm kind of shy a little bit about that kind of stuff, but
You just
well, I'm Sarah Sanborn.
so.
Oh, okay. I live in Northern California, and I'm an entrepreneur. I've had my own business as a painting contractor and artist since I was about 25. And yeah, that's been really amazing. And I have a 17-year-old next week. He'll be 17. He's a senior, so that's really exciting. And he's teaching me. He's teaching me, as our kids do. And yeah, I'm just living, keeping it real, allowing myself to have my emotions, and learning that my feelings, my emotions are my superpower. And I'm showing up to be an example to others about what that looks like, about embodying, embracing all of the emotions, even the ugly, scary ones. So
beautiful.
That's what I'm about.
Thank you so much. Thank you just for being so fabulous. We are definitely doing that again, whether people want to hear it or not. Yes.
Let's do it.
We're definitely gonna do it again, Sarah. And thank you so much for being here, showing up for yourself, for all of us, for myself and for everyone who is watching. Because these chats and this energy is so important. When we ourselves do our inner work, that does a lot. But when we come together and we pass something on, some nice, beautiful, loving vibration of light and ease and flow, we make it okay to not feel okay. That goes times 1,000, that energy, and it just goes into the world. So thank you so much. I appreciate you in a huge way. And we're going to say goodbye to everyone. So bye, everyone. And thank you so much for watching till the end.
Love you.